that when I was down there, my brother was miserable, my mom was miserable, and I mean, pretty much everyone was. My sister was in Wisconsin, my dad was, and I was having the time of my life. And I think that when that realization came to me like years later, that really hit hard. And knowing that everyone went through a tough time when I was having a blast with friends, when I was living like my best life, that guilt really weighed upon me. And I'm sure it was added with a lot of other things that I came to realize in therapy. But it was, it wasn't easy, and it was something to really grapple with. But the big thing with the move to Chicago was like I was just a kid, but for years, really until I went to therapy and I entered the NHL program, I thought that what happened to my family with eventually my parents' divorce, my sister's depression later in life, and my mom, things she struggled with depression and else when she was in Illinois with us, I definitely took that to heart and I took ownership of that. And I thought they were all doing the Chicago move for me to play hockey, for me to get here, for me to make the teams that would allow me to play at the NTDP, to play in college, to play pro. And pretty much everything that went south in my family after that Chicago move, I really took ownership and felt very guilty moving forward.
Can I just ask you, how's everybody doing now before we continue this? Like, is the rest of your family, are they all in a good place? Are they all in better places now?
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Good.
I think it took the longest for me to get over all these things. Like as I mentioned, when we were in Illinois, my brother wasn't in a great place. And after the 3 years in Chicago, he moved back to Wisconsin, and he played high school hockey there. He was back with his friends. And really, like, he got to do what he loved, which was just go to school, study, write, read. And he turned it around pretty quickly. My sister struggled for a bit just being apart from family. Like, we didn't really have a great relationship because I was always in Illinois and I didn't really talk to her much. But she went through it pretty tough in college, but she's still working on it. I think one thing that really has helped her is therapy, as did with me, and she's on medication as well, and it's still a battle for her, but I think she's really doing well now, and she's getting married here in September, so
Nice.
a little stress there, I know, but a lot of excitement, and it's in Milwaukee, so we're all really excited for that. And then my mom, she's doing great. She had some tough years in Chicago and some tough years a little bit afterwards. She's now back in Milwaukee as well, but she's doing really well. And then my dad is thriving up north. He got a place in Door County, so he seemed to take all of this a little better than others, but who really knows what's going on there?
Okay, well, I wonder, Sven, like, I mean, as you know, like, parents by and large, they want what's best for their kids. So I wonder for you yourself, when you came to this realization years later and the feelings that you started to have, like, what were those conversations like with your family?
Yeah, so I started to come to the realization that things were going a little south for me when I started probably a few years into college. But with my parents, when I was living in Michigan, so I lived in Chicago for 3 years, and then I played juniors out in Michigan and Plymouth for 2. And halfway through my first year there, my mom came out just alone, and she sat me down after a game and said, "Hey, like, your dad and I are getting a divorce." And if she had told me that maybe a year before, I would have been shocked. But I was around like a loving billet family that like had family dinners every single night, that would make jokes, that would have fun together. And when I moved there, I really realized what a family looks like how much fun you can have, just like how you can joke around, how everyone clearly loves and likes each other. And when my mom told me, hey, your dad and I are getting a divorce, I was like, you know what, that makes sense. I kind of pieced together that, living apart in Chicago and certain things looking back growing up weren't always what this family had in Michigan was. But yeah, I think at that moment I pieced it together.
So you went through, and one of the stories that you said behind the scenes is that you found a therapist last summer, the summer of 2024, that really helped you get to where you needed to go. And that you had said earlier in the interview that you were retired, you were done. But the work with this therapist brought you back. How did she help? And this is an NHLPA part of the program therapist, correct, in Chicago?
Yeah.
So how did she help you? How did she get you into a better place?
Yeah, she was incredible. So I've had coaches and people telling me to get therapy for forever, pretty much all my life. I grew up going to therapy for certain reasons. And then when I was in NTDP, when I was in juniors for the U18 team, my coach, Seth Thappert, there just said, hey, pulled me aside, said, hey, you're not looking like yourself. Talk to this therapist. And I was like, all right, I'm fine, but let's do it. And I got into a room with a therapist and just started crying. And I didn't really know why. I talked to him for a few sessions. The year was over and I moved on. I'm like, you know what, I'm fine. And then in college, freshman year was great. Sophomore year came and I thought I was fine. And my coach says, hey, something's up. Let's get you to meet with a therapist. He gave me her number, her name, told me to reach out, and I just never did. I kind of always thought, like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not doing great, but I'm okay. And then pro hockey came, and I mean, pro is a little different than junior or college. I think you're kind of, not that coaches or people don't care, but it's also like you're pro now. You know what to do to take care of yourself. And I just, I didn't take care of myself. And I think slowly things started to deteriorate. I wasn't doing anything outside of the rink. I'd go to the rink, I'd come home, I'd sit on my couch, and I'd just like, what do I do now? And that pretty much led up to meeting the therapist through the NHLPA program. The summer before was like my contract year, and yeah, I mean, I talked about retiring, and I thought I fully was. I went down to my agent's office in Chicago at the start of that summer, and I said, hey, like, I don't want to talk about hockey for a good month. I don't want to hear anything. Just give me time to think about what I'm going to do moving forward. And I took some time. It got time to sign like the qualifying offer, and I was like, I'm not ready. Like, I just can't sign. I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I told him if it's between retiring or signing that offer, like, I'm going to retire. And I signed my retirement sheet, and he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Is this like actually what you want? And I was like, I'm not ready to sign another contract. So yeah, like, that's it. And then throughout the summer, I thought, you know what, like, I signed my retirement form, like, I'm done. I'm going to feel better. And I just didn't. I felt the same. I thought it was going to be a sigh of relief, and I was going to get up in the morning and I was going to feel great. I was going to apply for jobs. Like, I'm a new person. I'm free finally. And I was still miserable. So my agent was also one of the people pushing for me to meet a therapist for forever.
And that's Pete Rutilli, your agent, right?
Pete Rutilli, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I met him when I was like 14 at Panera. And he's been like he's really been like a father figure. Like, he's the reason why I'm even playing pro hockey. He's the reason why I'm still playing. And yeah, he's been awesome. He's been incredible. But to get to my therapist, I mean, he's the one that recommended in partnership with Vicky Woosley, who's with the Predators, who recommended like this NHLPA program when there was no chance I was going to report to training camp. I couldn't get myself there. And he put me in that program, and at that point, he pretty much said, like, this is now going to force you to go to therapy. It's like to meet this therapist and to finally figure out what's going on here. And I met Cindy, my therapist, who was in Chicago, and I'm up in Milwaukee still. I was living at home, and I took the train down to meet her about 2 weeks after I entered the program. They're like, let's take your time, let's breathe, let's relax, and when you're ready, let's get into therapy. And I took the train down one day on a Friday just to do just to meet her, like a quick consultation, see what's going on, because she just knew, all right, a hockey player's coming down here, they're in the program, don't really know what's going on, but let's find out. And I head down there, take the train down. I sit in her office, and I'm feeling like stressed, anxious, depressed, but fine. And she's like, all right, what's your name? Spencer. Like, blah, blah, blah. All right, tell me about yourself. And I think I cried for an hour straight. I probably got like 3 words out that whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she kept making herself available, right? Like, it was like, normally it's like one session a week later, but that didn't happen here.
No, I think once she sat there in a chair 5 feet across from me and witnessed me crying for an hour straight, I think she realized this guy might need some more help than one meeting a week. So it was a Friday, and she's like, you know what? Why don't you come Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then let's just keep going. So I think I was down there almost every day for